Make Way for Liberty by various authors. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Make Way for Liberty by James Montgomery. On the exploit of Arnold Winkelried at the Battle of Sempach, in which the Swiss, fighting for their independence, totally defeated the Austrians in the 14th century. Make way for liberty, he cried, made way for liberty, and died. In arms the Austrian phalanx stood, a living wall, a human wood, a wall where every conscious stone seemed to its kindred thousands grown, a rampart all assaults to bear, till time to dust their frames should wear. A wood like that enchanted grove, in which with fiends Rinaldo strove, where every silent tree possessed a spirit prisoned in its breast, which the first stroke of coming strife would startle into hideous life. So dense, so still, the Austrians stood, a living wall, a human wood. Impregnable their front appears, all horrent with projected spears, whose polished points before them shine, from flank to flank one brilliant line, bright as the breakers' splendors run, along the billows to the sun. Opposed to these, a hovering band contended for their native land, peasants whose new-found strength had broke from manly necks the ignoble yoke, and forged their fetters into swords, on equal terms to fight their lords, and what insurgent rage had gained, in many a mortal fray maintained. Marshalled once more at freedom's call, they came to conquer or to fall, where he who conquered, he who fell, was deemed a dead or living tell. Such virtue had that patriot breathed, so to the soil his soul bequeathed, that wheresoe'er his arrows flew, heroes in his own likeness grew, and warriors sprang from every sod which his awakening footstep trod. And now the work of life and death hung on the passing of a breath. The fire of conflict burnt within, the battle trembled to begin. Yet while the Austrians held their ground, point for attack was nowhere found. Where'er the impatient Switzers gazed, the unbroken line of lances blazed. That line 'twere suicide to meet and perish at their tyrants' feet. How could they rest within their graves, and leave their homes the homes of slaves? Would they not feel their children tread with clanging chains above their head? It must not be. This day, this hour, annihilates the oppressor's power. All Switzerland is in the field. She will not fly, she cannot yield, she must not fall. Her better fate here gives her an immortal date. Few were the number she could boast, but every freeman was a host, and felt as though himself were he, on whose sole arm hung victory. It did depend on one indeed. Behold him, Arnold Winkelried. There sounds not to the trump of fame the echo of a nobler name. Unmarked he stood amid the throng, in rumination deep and long, till you might see with sudden grace the very thought come o'er his face, and by the motion of his form anticipate the bursting storm, and by the uplifting of his brow tell where the bolt would strike and how. But 'twas no sooner thought than done, the field was in a moment won. Make way for liberty, he cried, then ran with arms extended wide, as if his dearest friend to clasp. 10 spears he swept within his grasp. "Make way for liberty!" he cried. Their keen points met from side to side. He bowed amongst them like a tree, and thus made way for liberty. Swift to the breach his comrades fly. "Make way for liberty!" they cry, and through the Austrian phalanx dart, as rushed the spears through Arnold's heart, while instantaneous as his fall, rout, ruin, panic scattered all. An earthquake could not overthrow a city with a surer blow. Thus Switzerland again was free. Thus death made way for liberty. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Read for LibriVox.org. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death rode the 600. "Forward, the Light Brigade! Charge for the guns!" he said. Into the valley of death rode the 600. "Forward, the Light Brigade!" Was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldier knew someone had blundered. Theirs not to make reply, theirs not to reason why, theirs but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them volleyed and thundered. Stormed at with shot and shell, boldly they rode and well. Into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell, rode the 600. Flashed all their sabres bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabring the gunners there, charging an army, while all the world wondered. Plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from the sabre stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered. Stormed at with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made! All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made! Honor the Light Brigade! Noble 600! End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. On the Loss of the Royal George by William Cooper. Read for LibriVox.org. Written when the news arrived, 1782. Toll for the brave that are no more, all sunk beneath the wave, fast by their native shore. 800 of the brave, whose courage well was tried, had made the vessel heel, and laid her on her side. A land breeze shook the shrouds, and she was overset. Down went the Royal George, with all her crew complete. Toll for the brave! Brave Kempenfelt is gone. his last sea fight is fought, his work of glory done. It was not in the battle, no tempest gave the shock, she sprang no fatal leak, she ran upon no rock. His sword was in its sheath, his fingers held the pen, when Kempenfeldt went down with twice 400 men. Weigh the vessel up, once dreaded by our foes, and mingle with our cup the tear that England owes. Her timbers yet are sound, and she may float again, full charged with England's thunder, and plough the distant main. But Kempenfeldt is gone, his victories are o'er, and he and his 800 shall plough the wave no more. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The American Flag by Joseph Rodman Drake. Read for LibriVox.org. When freedom from her mountain height unfurled her standard to the air, she tore the azure robe of night and set the stars of glory there. She mingled with its gorgeous dyes the milky baldric of the skies, and striped its pure celestial white with streakings of the morning light. Then from his mansion in the sun she called her eagle-bearer down, and gave into his mighty hand the symbol of her chosen land. Majestic monarch of the cloud, who rear'st aloft thy regal form, to hear the tempest trumpings loud, and see the lightning lances driven, when strive the warriors of the storm, and rolls the thunder drum of heaven. Child of the sun, to thee 'tis given to guard the banner of the free, to hover in the sulphur smoke, to ward away the battle stroke, and bid its blendings shine afar like rainbows on the cloud of war, the harbingers of victory. Flag of the brave, thy fold shall fly, the sign of hope and triumph high, when speaks the signal trumpet tone, and the long line comes gleaming on, ere yet the life-blood, warm and wet, has dimmed the glistening bayonet. Each soldier's eye shall brightly turn to where thy sky-born glories burn, and as his springing steps advance, catch war and vengeance from the glance. And when the cannon mouthings loud heave in wild wreaths the battle shroud, and gory sabres rise and fall like shoots of flame on midnight's pall, then shall thy meteor glances glow, and cowering foes shall shrink beneath each gallant arm that strikes below, that lovely messenger of death. Flag of the seas, on ocean wave, thy star shall glitter o'er the brave, when death, careering on the gale, sweeps darkly round the bellied sail, and frighted waves rush wildly back before the broadside's reeling wrack. Each dying wanderer of the sea shall look at once to heaven and thee, and smile to see thy splendors fly in triumph o'er his closing eye. Flag of the free heart's hope and home, by angel hands to valor given, thy stars have lit the welkin dome, and all thy hues were born in heaven. Forever float that standard sheet, where breathes the foe but falls before us, with freedom's soil beneath our feet, and freedom's banner streaming o'er us. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. End of Make Way for Liberty by various authors.